Hi, everyone. So, I would like to share some incredibly empowering information. Now, ever since I've discovered Neville Goddard, I have been on this journey of the mystic unraveling, uncovering the deeper insights that as a mystic you have, and trying to describe this in words has been extremely difficult. Now, I've had my own experiences with a lot of mystical, yes, experiences and manifestations and prayer. So first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Sonia Sunhart, and I am a guide, teacher, a Christian mystic, somebody who has had deep spiritual experiences, 3 near-death experiences, for example. I've healed myself from being paralyzed in a wheelchair for almost a year. I've prayed and done some miraculous healings and things along my journey that I have not been able to share for several reasons. I think I had to get over a fear of persecution. I think I also had to get over my own limiting beliefs about reality, creation, about being a creator, about being the essence of God and what this all means. And this day and age, I see that so many people are heading back into more religious and biblical studies and things like that. And on my YouTube channel, Sonia Sunhart, when I began my journey to share, I was very, very scared to talk in public. I was it took me months before I could express myself. I was so uh, shy and intimidated by, by this whole medium of sharing my voice, of sharing my face and having strangers listen to me and all that. But I did it. I went over the fear of public speaking. And, I realized that oftentimes your fears become your biggest assets. Your fears are what are informing you that you need to transcend, that you need to move through. And so every time we do this, we are getting stronger and stronger. And, we came here in the school of life to transcend a lot of our limiting beliefs, of our fears, of our intergenerational curses or pains or blockages or belief systems, all of these things. And as soon as I heard Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, maybe a decade ago, Mr. Bruce Lipton, Dr. Bruce Lipton as well, Greg Braden, all these amazing scientific um, men that are also mystical and deep researchers on so many levels. Have deep respect for these people. Lynn McTaggart, The Power of Eight, all of these books have transformed my own insights and awareness. And so I'm in that category of, I guess you could say, I don't really feel like a seeker anymore. I feel like somebody who really has been embodying these teachings and now is using, my interpretation, my voice, my own awareness on why and how we came to be here, why we're here, what's the point. And, someone like Jim Carrey could say, there is no point. You can manifest whatever you want. He's done it. $3 million, wrote himself a check, became one of the highest paid actors and fame and fortune and all that, and then had a complete breakdown, nervous breakdown, and, you know, uh, or a spiritual dark night of the soul, which a lot of us go through on the journey to die and to be reborn again. So this is what Christ's, consciousness is all about. And so this will be triggering for more people that are in biblical, more, I guess you could say, old or classical, old paradigm um, studies, which actually take it literally, and the Father and all of that, which to me is all symbology. It's all mythology. I think a lot of it was taken from the even more ancient Isis, Osiris, and other stories of, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, Isis, Osiris, and Horus, and all of that. Anyways, these are, a lot of research and years, and I'm not going to get really into that right here. I am here to be a teacher now. I don't know what happened. Maybe in my own mental trigger is when I just became over a half a century of embodied, physicality on this planet. I've come into my own power, and I've decided that I'm here to teach and to share, and also to inspire others, and to share my story as I go, and to connect with the Neville Goddard teachings, because they have been the most powerful on my own journey, especially in these last couple of years. Um, they just bring a lot of things together. And he was a Christian mystic in the deepest sense, because he was using the Bible and the scriptures. Even when you look at the Bhagavad Gita and all of that, these scriptures about, um, you know, the power of awareness, Christ consciousness, crystalline frequency, like a higher resonance of being, of understanding. And we have to be careful, because in this world, we have a lot of information. The Aquarian age, the golden age that we have now gone into officially, apparently, to with the cosmology of our space-time reality, we have entered that period. That's why we're seeing the end of, whatever you want to call it, the old guard, the old systems, and we're entering this wider, where the veils are being lifted. That's what apocalypse means, right? The lifting of the veils, the lifting of the fog of, like, I kind of know, but I don't. And, I'm seeking, and I'm searching, and I'm healing, and I'm going through all this stuff. Now we can just wipe it out, become aware that we are God. God became man so that man can become God. And this is where we are on our journey now. Okay. Some of us are not, and that's all perfectly fine. It's all by design. It's all unfolding beautifully. And, as anything, you can take it and leave it. You can, the thing is, I will not tolerate, um, you know, unkindness, just all of that will be eliminated. So I'm even just intending that whoever finds me is finding me at the perfect time in their life, and they're curious and they want to know more, just like I am. And I continue my journey of, next level self-awareness, what's coming, how can I create my highest reality, how can I make this life so magical and beautiful, and not just for me, but for those in my own life, and how can we co-create this, like Abraham says, we are, at the cutting edge of creation, like manifesting. What are these laws? How do they work? How can I be hyper aware of every moment of every day of all my thoughts, so that I can create this reality and not slip back into older patterns, older belief systems that will pull away my creations and my ultimate reality. So, so welcome. And I hope you're going to enjoy this. I'm going to read a little bit of The Power of Awareness. This is one of the books. I have his, oh, I don't know if you can see it with the background. Oh, no, you can't. You can't. But I have this giant book with his compilation, his collection. There's a whole bunch of them in here. It's a big, heavy book. I don't take it with me traveling. What's fun is you can all find these audio books for free on YouTube. You can get them on Audible if you want, or wherever you listen in your car, or on walks, or that way you can do other things as well. Same with this channel. You can just listen. Um, I will also be developing a podcast so that I can just transfer all of this over. I've been using YouTube for a while, but I realized I had a lot of issues, technical issues that were popping up all the time. So I decided to do it on Zoom and to share the information over here on my screen. And this way you can read along with me, you see? And so those are the chapters. There we go. The first one is I am. So I'm going to read over here. All things, when they are admitted, are made manifest by the light. For everything that is made manifest is light. The light is consciousness. Consciousness is one, manifesting in legions of forms or levels of consciousness. There is no one that is not all that is. For consciousness, though expressed in an infinite series of levels, is not divisional. There is no real separation or gap in consciousness. I am cannot be divided. I may convince myself to be a rich man, a poor man, a beggar man, or a thief, but the center of my being remains the same, regardless of the concept I hold of myself. At the center of manifestation, there is only one I am, manifesting in legions of forms or concepts of itself, and I am that I am. I am in the self-definition of the absolute, the foundation on which everything rests. I am is the first cause and substance. Excuse me. I am is the self-definition of God. I am hath sent me upon you. Exodus 3:14. I am that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. I am is a feeling of permanent awareness. The very center of consciousness is the feeling of I am. I may forget who I am, where I am, what I am, but I cannot forget that I am. The awareness of being remains. Excuse me. Should have drank a bit more water. My green juice. The awareness of being remains regardless of the degree of forgetfulness of who, where, and what I am. I am is that which, amid unnumbered forms, is ever the same. This great discovery of cause reveals that, good or bad, man is actually the arbiter of his own fate. And I just want to make a little comment here. This is something that most people, trust me, I have been with people where I've been trying to share this information and bring the awareness to them that they are creating their reality when they're projecting that that this year is gonna be really difficult, and like the economy's so bad and all of these things and everything that the propaganda, the mainstream wants to keep a certain frequency and a certain people in a limited belief system reality, it gets created. And so that's why the powers that were have been using these systems for such a long time. And yet now so many of us are like, just not, we're not, drinking the Kool-Aid or any of that. So it's just becoming so obvious, and I'm so grateful for that. And I'm not focused anymore on fighting the old, or, because all that energy that I used to put in that, which for whatever reason, it had to be that way for a big part of my life. I saw through it. I tried to inform others about that, but you cannot force anybody to, if they're not ready, to open their eyes, to open their ears, for those with eyes to see and ears to hear. The truth is being revealed, but for those who are not, it sets you free. But before that, you go through this whole awakening process, and then you seeing the beast, for what it is, and it's freaking scary, and it's not nice, and it's you know the dark. And when you've been in it, seen it, fought it, there's a point where you're like, okay, I've been there, done that. Let me see over here. So you're not afraid of it anymore. It's part of somehow this reality, and it needs to be there on some level, for a certain reason that is bigger than all of us. And I'm not gonna, and again, because there's a collective conscious belief in it, it takes the time it takes until the tipping point does happen, where humanity just transcends it. Just like smoking, for a long time, people just didn't believe that it was bad for you. And then the corporations had, studies, and just like they did with these recent pharmaceutical entities that did the same thing. But eventually the truth does come out, and then unfortunately we lose people along the way. Anybody who's a so-called whistleblower, or has paid a high price, such as their lives. But again, we know energy is never created or destroyed, so your soul is eternal. And for some of us, that's the most important thing: truth, transparency, accountability, integrity, all these things, because we know everything's known on a higher level, in the Akashic field, and so your soul will come back over and over again, and experience itself with the lessons it needs, or with whatever it needs to to live out its experiences. So there you go. All that, sometimes this is what happens with me, is I share my own interpretation, stories, and observations, and for empowering, because the power of awareness brings you to empowering yourself as a soul sovereign being, right? That's the name of the game here. When you're soul sovereign, you are not living in fear. You are not afraid to look the darkness deep in the face and say, there it is. And I'm not going to stick my head in the sand and pretend it's not there. And yet, this whole reality has to have, like every movie, right? You have to have the bad guy to have the good guy. You have to choose, which team you're going to play on. You have this team and that team, and then sometimes you win and sometimes you lose, and it's just what's going on here. So thankfully now I've transcended the darker aspects of where I was going, constantly fighting the darkness all the time. And I have my YouTube channel shows that, um, which is kind of cool, that I've been able to, in the last 5 years, kind of go through all of this experience and have it recorded. I think that's kind of cool. But anyways, I'm not attached to it. So the great discovery of cause reveals that, good or bad, man is in the arbitrary of his own fate, and that it is his concept of himself that determines the world in which he lives, and his concept of himself in his reactions to life. In other words, if you are experiencing ill health, knowing the truth about cause, you cannot attribute the illness to anything other than to the particular arrangement of the basic cause substance, an arrangement which was produced by your reactions to life and is defined by your concept, I am unwell. This is why you are told, let the weak man say, I am strong. For by his assumption, the cause substance, I am, is rearranged and must therefore manifest that which its rearrangement affirms. This principle governs every aspect of your life, be it social, financial, intellectual, or spiritual. Now, this is another little bit. I'm going to stop over here for today, and then I will continue because as I'm reading this, I'm also getting circuitry in my own connections, connective tissue experience of the horseman, the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Yes, and which I will get into at another time. But just to say that what they're mentioning here, the financial, intellectual, spiritual, physical, so social we can replace with physical, which is the material reality, our relationships, all of that social, what gives us our personal reality, our personality, those kinds of things, they're all important to work together. But the highest level is the white horse, which is the spiritual horse, which is the one that informs everything else. Everything comes from the ether, the thoughts, the mind of God, which is why we want to tune into that so that we can inform, we can give form in the matter to our social, financial, intellectual experience and live that highest timeline reality, that highest projection of ourselves and of our lives. So thank you for listening, and I'll be back for sure. I'm going to stop the screen here and say bye until the next time.